let's talk about lunch breakout rooms. Yay, so exciting. This is a really cool opportunity for you to be able to engage with our speakers. So a lot of conferences, there's not a lot of engagement, virtual conferences specifically. So we wanted to address this and also give you the time to grab a sandwich. Please take a moment to get something so that you're not burning yourself out and putting too much pressure on yourself.
Please feed yourself.
Please feed yourself, or whatever you want to do, coffee, get something, and then join one of these amazing breakout sessions. They're designed to be interactive. We have conducting an online audit by Farah Trumpeter at Big Duck. So you can actually get your website or social media platform reviewed by an expert. You can just submit your site in the live chat for that one. And then we have also connecting digitally with major donors. This is led by Jeff Shrivels, senior partner at Veritas Group, also offering that free consultation that I mentioned before. Please take a look at this. This is a really great opportunity to talk specifically about engaging your major donors online. So that's awesome. And then we have Flourishing with Funnels, Tools and Tactics for Online Acquisition and Retention. So that is a conversation led by Jen Newmeyer, who is the Director of Digital Membership at Y. And so she's going to be leading a casual conversation just about how you can actually acquire and retain your donors too online. We have our Q&A session from Public Interest Registry. I'm going to keep an eye out for that link for you to go to, and that is TBA during this session. And we also have identifying and engaging your ideal sponsors. So if you're trying to engage sponsors for a virtual, in-person, hybrid event, Abby Quinlan, who runs Nonprofit 101, she is an amazing consultant. Please check her out, her resources, and check out her breakout session if you're interested. So yeah, I'll leave you all to it to go to your breakout rooms. Jenna, do you have the links in the chat yet?
Awesome. So yeah, I posted the first 3. It sounds like we're still waiting on the last 2 links for the Q&A and Abby Quinlan's.
So I have the link also in your email that went out for day 2. You should have the links in that email as well if you want to just take a look at that. There's Abby's session there. Let me just get that for you real quick. And then in the meantime, we're going to be hanging out. So if you want to hang out with us, you can. We'll be doing just a very casual Ask Me Anything. But I highly recommend you take a look at these awesome breakout sessions because they're going to be really resourceful. So
amazing.
Yeah, let me get Abby's session.
Yeah, and I guess I'm curious what everyone's favorite part of day 2 so far is, for those who are staying on.
All right, I just posted Abby's link in the chat. It is, so that is the session on identifying engaging ideal sponsors.
Awesome. Okey-dokey. Abby.
Yeah.
Abby. That's all I can think of.
Abby Normal.
Abby Normal.
From Young Frankenstein.
Anyone?
Yeah, anyone? Young Frankenstein? It's one of my favorite movies. Abby something.
Sorry.
So good. It's so good. I've definitely used Young Frankenstein in my webinars. Like that's definitely something I've done.
So funny. Abby's session is scheduled for 1
p.m.
It could just be a typo in her.
Yeah, I would try joining anyway.
Yeah. Sometimes they don't update the time of it, but they'll be there. Let's see. So it looks like Candace is going to try to get Abby's link to work for you guys.
Yeah, I'm just emailing her now. In the meantime, I mean, maybe check out one of the other sessions. You can always go in and go out. So, you know, feel free to bounce around to the different breakouts as well. I mean, all of these are going to be really great. I would, the Farrah Trumpeter one, for those who are interested, I think that's going to be a really great session, but all of them are going to be great. So, you know, maybe try that one for now.
Yeah, I'm gonna repost all of them for you since the chat moves. Just give me one.
Yeah, the chat moves so quick. Thanks for doing that, Jenna.
Yeah. Okay, so that was in, oh, I don't think that worked. Okay, one more time.
No, I think it works.
It did?
Yeah, I see everything.
Oh, okay, it's not showing on my screen, so.
No, I see it. It's all in the chat. All right.
Cool.
So for anyone who's on with us now, do you have any questions for us? Let's open up the floor. So, you know, out of everything that we've discussed today, did you get, do you have any questions that we didn't get answered, or any burning questions that you're still really looking to get answered throughout today? Feel free to put those in the Q&A. We'll have a casual conversation and really just try to get all your questions answered, and we can make this about really anything related to digital fundraising at all. And yeah, or CauseVox, if you have CauseVox questions, happy to answer that.
Yeah. Or a therapy session, we could transition into something like that.
Absolutely.
Just kidding.
I'm here for all problem solving.
I'm here for the comic relief. Is that okay? I serve no other purpose. but terrible dad puns and dad jokes and bad puns.
But yeah, still waiting on PIR to see if they have a session. They mentioned that they wanted to do one, and so I think
yes, all the sponsors links will be included in the follow-up email. I can also post some here. So as a reminder, shout out to Next After, who was a sponsor for us. And Community Boost. That's the one with the free audit. Post in their links as well.
Well, all right.
Public Interest Registry. PIR. Oops.
Yeah, and then yeah, as far as all the links to the sponsors, we're going to be including links back in the follow-up email that goes out tomorrow. So you can take a look at all of their amazing offerings. I mean, we have so many great sponsors. I feel really blessed and thankful. These sponsors all do so many amazing things. And yeah, this year was so fun to engage and work with so many of these great sponsors to make the summit free. So really fantastic working with so many sponsors. What's everyone eating for lunch? I want to know. Let us know in the chat. I ate a sandwich in the middle of the last session, so I could just be on to chat with you all. It was prosciutto and ricotta cheese. It was pretty fancy.
Oh, I got the regat. That's
yeah. You know it.
Yes. Ellen, the decks, if you purchase the notes and recordings, you will get the slides.
Yep, we're sending slides to everyone that registered. So that's going to be in the follow-up email that goes out tomorrow. But notes and recordings are all in the VIP pass. And yeah, the advantage of notes is that, even though you'll have access to all the slides, sometimes slides are amazing, and there's a lot of great information on them, but notes, we can kind of distill out all of that into something that's easy to see. So you can just at a quick glance kind of go over those key learnings of all sessions. So last year, I think we had like 44 pages of notes. It was quite extensive and awesome. Cool. And we're joined by Anand at PIR. So yeah, for those who are interested in learning a little bit more about the Impact Awards, now is the time to engage and ask.
Thank you. Long time no see. It was a few. I actually, it's funny, we're using Robin's Zoom link just to get here in time. So both Jim and I are using it. So it shows up as Robin Bose, but wanted to introduce our head of marketing, Jim Lefevre, who is joining us today. He's also heading Org Impact Awards for us. And who better to give you guys and everyone an insight into this. So, I left the audience, all of you guys, with a teaser of what the Org Impact Awards is, and I'm going to hand it over to Jim to give a quick preview and overview of this and why it's essentially us showcasing your amazing work and our chance of calling you guys out and giving you kudos. So Jim, take it over.
Great. Make sure I'm not on mute. Okay, you guys can hear me all right? Hi, everyone. I'm Jim Lefevre. I'm with PIR. I'm a Senior Director of Marketing. I've been with PIR for about 4 years now, so I've been around a little bit here. We are really excited to tell you about the Org Impact Awards. This is our 3rd year of doing it. And just a little background around it, about 3.5, 4 years ago, we really took a look at all these wonderful .orgs that are using the .org domain for their online identity in their home. And we realized that, there's so much good work that's being done, but a lot of these organizations were just not being recognized for it, or they weren't being rewarded. They put in a lot of time, a lot of effort, energy. A lot of times it's tireless work. They put so much effort into it, and they don't get a whole lot of recognition or reward. So we figured it was high time that we did something to kind of turn that around a little bit. So we figured what better way than to kind of do an annual awards program where we actually recognize orgs all around the world for all the wonderful impact that they're having on the communities and the worlds that they serve. So that's kind of the impetus behind it. And so, like I said, this was the 3rd year that we did it. And the first year was really kind of cool because it was more of a traditional in-person event type of thing with like a gala in Washington, D.C. And it had we had Taye Diggs come and present one of the awards. I don't know if you know who Taye Diggs is. He's an actor. He's been on a bunch of different TV shows. And it was like your traditional kind of fancy, gala ball type of reception type of event. And then, of course, COVID hit the next year. And so we were forced to kind of move to an online venue. And by doing so, we realized that it really allowed us to actually kind of put more focus and more effort instead of putting all of our resources into doing like this really huge gala for a few people. We could open this up for a huge 10-day event that incorporated a lot more of the orgs, that we could kind of focus more on the work that they were doing, and also more importantly, give them more award money, more donation money. And we continued that trend this year, obviously, because COVID is still ravaging the world in different areas and stuff. We figured that it didn't make a lot of sense. So this year's our third year. It's online again. The event itself is going to be on November 9th. And right now we are in the submission process, so that we have a week from this coming Friday is when the submissions are going to close. So if you're interested in applying, if you have an org, or if you know of orgs that would be, willing and able to submit, we have 7 categories, and then there's a an additional category for org of the year. Each of the categories is in different kind of industry area focuses. I can list them now. There's one that's combating coronavirus. So it's orgs that are actually helping during the pandemic. One is fighting hunger and poverty. We have a category for championing diversity, equity, and inclusion. We have a category for providing quality education for all. There's one focused on climate change. It's called Overcoming Climate Change. We have kind of a general one called Building Better Community. So orgs that are just helping out in their local communities can apply for that one. And then we have a new one that we created this year called Rising Star. And this is really focused on younger people who have really kind of taken to a particular cause and set up at that org, people who are under 25 and are really kind of spearheading different types of initiatives. And of course, the aforementioned org of the year. Each one of the categories outside of the org of the year we give a $10,000 donation to that they can use in whatever way that they want, the winner. And the org of the year gets $35,000. And the way that it works is the org of the year is drawn from the 7 finalists. So potentially an org could $45,000 donation to help further their cause. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. We really encourage you guys to apply, or spread the word about the Org Impact Awards. I would think we have close to 700 or 800 submissions right now in various stages, but we always want to get that number higher, because we want to obviously include every org that we possibly can. So I don't know if you guys have any specific questions for me or Anand or.
Jim, thanks for this. I do want to add one thing. It's given we are in the third year. In the first 2 years, we have seen mission-driven organizations of all sizes and from all parts of the world. So it truly is celebrating everyone, not just the biggest one, or not just based on one location. We've been able to get the word out to a lot of people from all different backgrounds, all different regions, all sizes. So it's been a good variety, and we continue our continued effort and aim is to reach out to the wider audience. So again, if you know of an organization that does amazing work in one of these 8 categories, you should definitely have them apply or apply for them.
Yeah, and the other thing too, I'll add right now is that I wanted to make it clear that it's not just nonprofits. It's anybody on the .org platform that is actually mission driven. So you don't need to necessarily be a nonprofit. You can be a for-profit company as long as you are making an impact. And we have a lot of organizations that have CSR programs and the like that have applied and actually have won in the past. So just wanted to make that clear. It's not just for nonprofits.
Thank you. Yeah. So if you guys have you guys have any questions, let us know. You know where to find us too.
Awesome. Really cool. I just pasted the link in the chat, so you can take a look there.
Thank you so much.
We'll hang out, and we're just gonna field any Q&A. So this time is designed to be fun and chill and interactive. So any questions you have about the .org Impact Awards, we're here. If you want to start a conversation about some challenges that you're facing at your organization in general, we'd be happy to field those questions, give you our best tips and tactics that we suggest. We love working with organizations like yours. So start a conversation in the chat. What are the challenges that you're facing at your nonprofit at the moment? How can we help? Also, for anyone that wants to come on screen with us and talk to us live, raise your hands. I'll allow you to talk, and that will give you the opportunity to unmute yourself and come on camera and we can just have a conversation. Although if you're eating, I get it, you know, you don't want to be on camera. I wolfed down a sandwich before this, so I was ready. But yeah, I encourage you, we're here as your resource. This is your time to interact with us. So raise your hand and I'd love to chat with you. I know Bill, you've been a digital fundraising summit champion last year and this year. So thanks for joining again.
Yeah, shout out to Bill Northwood.
Yeah, thanks, Bill.
National Hospice Regatta Alliance. Here, what's up?
What's up? There's so many names that I see all the time. Stephanie Kennedy, thanks for joining. Vicky Sullivan. So good to have all of you on here today.
Sophia and Robbie from Pillars with Purpose.
Oh,
good to have you here. And Andy, I see, is here, who will be speaking later from Spinal CSF League Foundation.
Ooh, yes. Thank you, Andy, for joining. This is going to be fun later. I can't wait for the panel. Cool.
Sweet, sweet, sweet.
Emily.
I'm loving this format of the interaction. Seriously, it's great.
Yeah, no, it's fun. Like, this is one of the things from the summit last year. I did like a survey afterwards. And I think one of the main points of feedback was like, it was really cool. I liked all the panel discussions, but you know, would be great if there were more opportunities to interact. And I was like, let's figure out how to do that. I know in the virtual space, that's like been a challenge for a lot of nonprofits, but I think just kind of making this space in the middle of the day where, you know, people can just join in and it doesn't have to be just one person or a few people talking to the void, but you're all here. You're
cool,
live with us. You're part of it. So yeah.
So yeah, is anyone in the sponsorship breakout right now? I wonder. Let's see. I'm not sure if anybody's still having issues getting into that one.
Yeah, I wonder. I haven't heard anything else in the chat yet. So I feel like no news is good news on that one. I feel like they probably got in.
I had one person ask me a question, so yeah.
I have received 0 emails, so that's always a good sign of technical issues.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll find out when we reconvene.
Yeah, we'll figure it out later. Cool.
Guys, I just saw in the chat that Megan Walsh was on a Skype call with her team in Ethiopia and now she's eating, so I'm not going to ask her to come on stage. But in the previous session, she asked a question. Should I field the question?
Yes, let's.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Megan, you asked at 10 o'clock earlier, well, 10 o'clock Eastern time. Can anyone talk about if you have to send your donor to a donation link that isn't your website? And so she, for example, sends theirs direct to a platform, fundraising platform, although of course her website also has a donation link. So like, I'll just speak from my experience. You can kind of do it what makes sense. I mean, there's pros and cons of both. If you, obviously, if you're sending folks to a donation widget on your own website, gives you a chance to also feature your website and like your brand and have the donor be able to kind of see other things on your site right away. That being said, it is often more convenient to send donors to either a campaign site or to kind of a generic site on that's a micro presence on a platform, because it's optimized for donors to be able to like say like, okay, I know this organization, I trust the payment gateway, and I can kind of get through. And so, you know, it's kind of the purpose. It depends on what your purpose is. And of course, your site will be linked from the platform. So folks can and will use that to go to your site to kind of learn a bit more about you if it's the first time they've heard of you or they haven't heard from you in a while. So anyway, thought I'd just throw that one in there since it's
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, thanks, Robin. And yeah, one of the things that I definitely see is, so it sounds like you're using Network for Good, where you do have to have like the redirect, or I know in some cases there is a redirect from your donate button to their page. I also do recommend, like, if you are using a tool like that that is redirecting somewhere else to just like for your regular donate button, I mean, obviously it can work, but yeah, you'll probably find better conversion rates if you build out a landing page and integrate something right onto your website. Just because, yeah, it'll kind of build that trust with those supporters. So yeah, I mean, I do recommend like exploring other options that will allow you to embed a donation page right on your website, just because it can make the process smoother for donors, which always helps with conversion. So, yeah.
Oh, wow. What a layup for you. In the chat.
Who offers that kind of landing page integration? Great question. So CauseVox has a donation form that you can embed right on your website. And so it's really easy to set up. I mean, I do it, Jenna and I do it all the time with our customers. It takes about 15 minutes to set up and copy and paste on your website. A lot of people are surprised how easy it is, both on the setup side and then on the actual donation processing side. It takes about 15 seconds for a donor to complete a donation, because we really tried to streamline the forms, make it easy. It's all mobile optimized. People can do Apple or Google Pay, which I think is the biggest trend. I know we talked a little bit about text to give yesterday, and I was like, yeah, I know, like, yeah, it's there for sure. But I think Apple and Google Pay is more important at this point than text to give, just because that is a payment method that like almost all mobile phone users have set up at this point. It's really easy. And that's kind of like the growing thing in our industry. So anyway, I digress. But yeah, I like Apple and Google Pay. It's on the forms too. So it kind of is for today's donor. So happy to set up a consultation. We have like these 15-minute consultations that we'll do to assess your donation page and kind of help you get started if you're interested. So feel free to book one of those. I can grab that from our Calendly link. Yeah. So,
and if you're interested in seeing what CauseVox product looks like, I'm just going to do a demo today at 3 o'clock. So from 3 to 3:15, you'll be able to see the donation forms and the fundraising sites that you can run.
Yeah. We also have the new auto pledge feature, which is really fascinating. I don't know if that's what you're looking for, probably not, but at the moment, but we have this new cool feature called auto pledge, and it helps your donors commit to giving large amounts of money over a period of time and automatically fulfills them for you. So that can be incorporated on donation pages now as well. We have recurring giving, of course. There's a lot of functionality there, and donation pages can actually be used on our free plan. I think pledges are on any paid plan. We're also doing 50% off to anyone that comes to the summit on all of our paid plans. So tons of options there, from free to low cost. Cool. Let me find that donation page.
When Alec and I were starting on Elevate Youth, like, even though I come from a background where I have experience in, websites and just like software for like small organizations, it was such a challenge to get our first like, site and like kind of donation gateway. Like everything was it was like pulling teeth throughout. And meanwhile, we're actually just starting the organization and starting operations too. So like the focus of the organization felt like we needed it to be on building partners and like setting up outings for kids and like getting those to be good and having the kids be happy. And then there was like this constant pull of like, oh, right. We also still need to like kind of do things which are like critical for our online presence and like and fundraising in particular. And so I you know, seeing the questions from that session, I really empathize deeply with everybody on the call who has gone through that, right? And is still going through that. We definitely had multiple iterations and we tried lots of different platforms because we were just having trouble.
Yeah.
Candace, hi, this is Jim. I had a question about, you know, when you're talking about landing pages, what is your expertise or best practice advice about default donation amounts? Is there any kind of like, you know, perfect kind of donation amount that increases the most donations? Like, has it done any research been done on that? Like,
Yeah. So I definitely have some data on this to pull
Mhm.
from. I actually love donation tiers. Like I think they really do help drive up gift amounts. So I'll tell you what I know. So I know that the second tier, so whatever you put as your second tier is usually the most common choice, because the average donor is like, well, I don't want to like do like the cheap, I don't want to be like the cheap donor. So I'll do
Right, yeah.
So that's a trend that I've seen. So I usually recommend you know, definitely taking a look at like average gift sizes, because I think it depends on the organization.
Sure.
So like the best way to drive up the average gift size for that nonprofit, so there's no like one size fits all, but is like to actually like look at your data and what your average gift size is. Definitely have a tier that's a little bit above that, just like a little bit, so it's not a huge
Right,
jump.
yeah. Makes sense.
You know, something that's approachable for your donors, for sure.
Yep.
One of my favorite suggestions is a lot of our customers, I'll tell them when they're doing recurring. So there's like the one-time tiers and then there's the recurring tiers. I always say try to put the recurring tiers at about 1/3 of the one-time tiers. I think there is some magic combination there where people go like, oh, that's really approachable. That $25 gift is now $750. And then now you just, you know, quadruple the amount that
Yeah.
you know, like, so now, yeah, so you get a lot larger gifts by pushing people towards recurring, and then that way you end up increasing lifetime value of those donors too, because you get to retain them. And the last thing for tiers that I always recommend is actually tying it to impact. So like one of our customers way back when, I don't know that they use this anymore. I think they had to switch for some internal purpose, but they switched from a PayPal button, which was just like generic, like enter in whatever amount. And then they started with donation tiers on CauseVox, and they put in descriptions of impact next to each tier. And they told us that their average gift size increased by $100 at their organization from just making that switch. And then like, I think they from like over a period of a year between PayPal and CauseVox, they had 82% higher giving coming through their site. So it was pretty incredible. And I think a lot of that had to do with the tiers and the ease of use and all of that. But they credited the tiers a lot with the average gift size.
You think that the stories also ties back to the recurring, like, because if the recurring is 1/3, let's say, if you set it at a third, are you know, do you also recommend even tying that to like what is the impact over time, since it's not a one-time?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like the better you can say like, hey, $750 a month goes to, you know, sponsoring a kid for a year or whatever your impact statements are. I think that really does break it down in ways that donors can actually see what they can accomplish with you, especially if they make that longer term commitment. I mean, same thing with like the pledges. It's not like recurring's like more open-ended. People just give forever for whatever a month. But the pledges, it's a great way to get someone to be like, hey, I'm going to commit $5,000 over the course of 3 years. And then that's a great way to also be like, well, $5,000 funds this. And so increasing gift size that way too. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I actually like talk about donation tiers a lot on some of my webinars. I think it's really important. I was gonna try to get that in this morning on the Digital Fundraising 101, and I was like, I can't, because I can go on for like I already have for like 5-10 minutes at least on donation tiers themselves.
I think that's called the curse of knowledge. It's like you just know all this stuff, and it's like, how do you explain to someone who's just trying to kind of catch up to you?
Yeah, for sure. But this is so much fun, guys. This is so cool. Were there any more questions that we missed? I should take a look at the Q&A, because I know I was trying to get to as many as possible, but of course, the show must go on at some point, and we can't get to all of these awesome questions.
Yeah, people, one of the questions that was in the interactive poll was about, it was kind of about like saturated market. And I think what the person meant by that is, you know, there's maybe a limit to like how much attention is out there. That's at least the perception. And that there's so many other organizations either in that space or just competing for attention. And that was one of the things that they said has been a really tough challenge. Do you guys have thoughts about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it really is. Yeah, of course, like kind of like what Julia was saying yesterday. I don't know if you got the chance, but she was like, the whole thing of like cut through the clutter, and she's like, that doesn't happen, that doesn't exist. It's a great like phrase, but there's so much clutter everywhere. It's part of it. Everyone's getting a million emails, everyone's seeing so many different social posts throughout the day. But I think a lot of it is more about like having a very targeted audience. I think this is something that it's funny because like since being a part of this, I pick up on all this stuff from all of our summits, and I have somehow retained things for years. So, and it's been really great. We had a session a couple years back from No Typical Moments. They also did a breakout session yesterday on Facebook ads. And one of my favorite takeaways from that session a couple years ago, even, which we've probably released to the public, well, we can make that available. But he was talking about how you can target lookalike audiences on Facebook and Instagram. So, you know, picking out I like similar audiences to other organizations that are similar to yours and being able to target them is really interesting. So yeah, that's like targeting those lookalike audiences online can help you find people that are already interested in nonprofits like yours. I know that's like a very specific thing, but just kind of came to mind. But yeah, I also think like making sure that you're being specific about who you're targeting. I think that's also about, even from our session yesterday on using the Google Ad Grant and how very specific you can get with your searches, and making sure that you like rank for that just organically, and then also using that Google Ad Grant to make sure that you come up on those really targeted searches that people are looking for. So yeah, I think it's not wider. I think it's narrower, like narrowing that search for and reaching the people that are already interested in your organization, because you do something unique. You know, there's no one else like you. So cool. I don't know, Robin, did you have any ideas?
Yeah, I mean, I think, so I agree with everything that you said. I also think that finding ways to like even partner up with other folks can sometimes also help you make a breakthrough. Like for example, for Elevate Youth, we are also a service provider to schools and to other like youth development organizations. So sometimes like teaming up on events or teaming up on and like supporting the events that they do also kind of creates some reciprocity. And then it makes it feel a little bit more coherent. And just like gives you another angle to play that differentiates you from everyone else. And I know that sometimes it's tough because people are like, well, I'm building my audience. Like I worked hard to get newsletter subscribers that I got. But sometimes showing how you fit in and are interconnected with all the other organizations serving the same people can also give people a better picture in their mind of like, how does this actually work and kind of what are you working on? So
yeah, definitely. No, I think that's really, really helpful advice. Thanks, Robin. And then, yeah, I guess maybe the last thing that does actually help cut through the noise, because you're really leveraging relationships, is peer-to-peer. So I know I talked about that a ton earlier, but it really does. If there is one thing that helps cut through the noise, like people are always going to respond to their friend that's like, hey, I really care about this organization. Could you make a donation to my page? Like, they're going to get a response one way or the other. Maybe not from every single person that they reach out to, but that does help, yeah, attract attention as well.